It's happening. The RV market is collapsing right before our eyes. We're talking names, you know, Jayco, Airstream, Coachmen, all bleeding cash as repossessions skyrocket and buyers vanish. The RV boom everyone bragged about in 2021, gone. But here's where it gets worse. Some of these companies might not even exist by 2026. And if they fold, your warranty, your resale value, and maybe even your dream rig could go with them. This is the inside story the industry doesn't want you to hear. Let's break down the 9 brands that may not survive in 2026. And what's coming next? Jayco, the family favorite that priced itself out. You can feel it the moment you drive past a Jayco lot. Rows of once trusted family rigs sitting under dust, stickers curling, dealers pretending the markdowns are limited time offers. But those handwritten red tags tell the truth. The company that built its reputation on affordable adventures has quietly priced itself out of its own audience. Back in 2021, Jayco's mid-range J-Flight trailers sold briskly around $36,000. By late 2025, that same unit lists at just over $51,000, a jump of nearly $15,000, while average household savings dropped. Add loan rates now hovering near 8%, and the math falls apart fast. Dealers admit sales volume is down 42% year over year. You can see it in the parking rows that never turn over. A leaked internal memo from the Middlebury plant, dated August 2025, confirms the slowdown. Temporary production pause on select towables due to unsold inventory exceeding 2,300 units. That is 2,300 rigs already built and waiting for buyers who no longer qualify for loans. Meanwhile, used Jayco models from 2023 are trading at auction for barely 2/3 of their original invoice. That is not depreciation. That is surrender. Why did it happen? Jayco chased luxury margins. They added touchscreen panels, multi-zone lighting, and imported fittings that look good in brochures, but add thousands to the sticker and hundreds to repair bills. The dependable wood frame Jayco that families once trusted became a tech-heavy premium product that their own customers could no longer afford. Now the ripple effect is brutal. Dealers still owe floor plan financing on every unsold unit. That means interest charges stacking month after month, forcing fire sale discounts that undercut used prices even more. One dealer in Elkhart told us flatly, if the manufacturer will not cut production again by winter, half of us will not make it to spring. So what does that mean for anyone holding a Jayco today? Expect trade-in offers to slide another 10 to 15% before next summer. The resale window is closing fast, and the market has no appetite for overbuilt campers in a tightening credit cycle. And here is the part few realize. Jayco's stumble is not isolated. It is the first tremor of a wider quake shaking through the RV heartland, because when the family favorite falls, the rest of the industry starts checking its own foundations. The next brand proves that even corporate empires can bleed when the showroom lights stay on, but the buyers stop walking in. Coachmen. The brand dealers are walking away from. Step inside any small-town dealership this fall, and you can spot the Coachmen row from 50 yards away. The flags are faded, the price boards are hand-scribbled, and salesmen avoid eye contact. What used to be a dependable mid-tier brand has turned into a liability that dealers cannot move and corporate will not fix. Only 3 years ago, in 2022, Coachmen's Catalina and Freedom Express lines kept showrooms alive, moving close to 35,000 units nationwide. This summer, that number fell below 19,000, barely half. Warranty claims during the same window jumped by 62%, according to service bulletins filed with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. A leaked communication from Forest River's internal support desk dated April 20, 2025 reads, "Temporary suspension of parts reimbursement pending audit of dealer claims." Translation: dealers waiting weeks, sometimes months, to get paid for repairs on products that never should have shipped. Electrical failures, wall delamination, and leaking roofs have turned customer service lines into confessionals of frustration. The deeper problem runs below the paint. Coachmen's pandemic-era production boom was built on borrowed time and temporary labor. When supply chain costs spiked 40%, corners were cut, foam insulation replaced heavier core materials, and wiring looms were rerouted by contractors racing a clock. The result? Cheaper builds wearing the same badges. Now those shortcuts are catching up. Dealers from Indiana to Texas report walking away from new allocations entirely. One owner in Fort Wayne told us bluntly, "Every Coachman I take in costs me twice. Once to floor it, once to fix it." He is not exaggerating. The carrying cost on unsold stock at current rates exceeds $300 per unit per month. Multiply that by a lot full of 100 rigs, and you see why even loyal dealers are cutting ties. For anyone holding a 2023 or 2024 Coachman, resale has already fallen 25% below book value. Private listings now undercut trade-in quotes by thousands. The market is signaling a full loss of confidence, and confidence is the one thing you cannot discount back into existence. If Coachman is the sound of the middle tier collapsing, the next chapter is the silence of a legend losing its shine, aluminum polished on the outside, uncertainty corroding underneath. If you've already noticed these signs at your local dealer, hit the like button and drop a comment below. Your experience tells the real story this industry doesn't publish. Airstream, the luxury icon losing its shine. Under showroom lights, an Airstream still looks timeless, silver skin gleaming like a mirror, curves catching the spotlight the way they always have. But step behind those polished panels, and the shine starts to fade fast. The American luxury trailer that once symbolized freedom is now sitting unsold across dealership lots from coast to coast. Its image spotless, but its numbers sinking. In 2021, the average Airstream base camp left the factory lot within 8 weeks of arrival. By the third quarter of 2025, that turnover stretched beyond 11 months. Inventory data from the Recreational Vehicle Industry Association confirms nearly 5,000 unclaimed units sitting in storage fields across the Midwest. Those silver shells are not trophies anymore. They are unpaid bills lined up in the rain. The cause is simple and brutal. Cost. That iconic flying cloud, once a premium at $87,000, now lists near $127,000. At the same time, median household income has barely moved, and loan rates hover near 8%. Even loyal customers who spent decades saving for one are walking away before signing. Dealers are slashing prices 40% just to move inventory, but every discount cuts deeper into the brand's identity. Production data tells the same story. Leaked reports from Jackson Center, Ohio, dated early September 2025, reveal a 39% output decline year over year. Skilled aluminum welders replaced by rotating crews, defect reports doubled, and costs climbed beyond profit. The shine has simply grown too expensive. Airstream leadership calls it a temporary correction, but the market calls it saturation. Used Airstreams that once held gold-like value are now down 27% from last summer's peak. The truth is written in every auction sheet. Aluminum may gleam under showroom lights, but it bends easily beneath economic pressure. If Airstream's reflection shows a past that can no longer pay for its future, the next brand reveals what happens when inflation crushes the foundation of affordability itself. The slow grind of a budget name running out of road. Gulfstream Coach, the budget brand crushed by inflation. There is something almost tragic about walking past a Gulfstream lot today. Rows of what were once the go-to rigs for first-time owners now sit with price-reduced tags that keep getting rewritten every month. The company built its name on value. Simple builds, fair pricing, and family weekends that felt within reach. But inflation has no sentiment, and it just flattened one of the last truly affordable names in the game. Between 2020 and 2024, the average price of a Gulfstream Amerilight trailer climbed from $22,000 to $33,000. That is a jump of over 50% in just 4 seasons, with almost no rise in wages to match. Material costs were the hammer that hit first. Plywood, foam insulation, and steel frame assemblies soared by 44%, according to supplier data released from Elkhart County. Even simple things like roof sealants doubled in cost. Gulfstream tried to absorb the shock, but eventually passed it along, and the entry-level buyer vanished overnight. Factory insiders confirmed that production slowed to a crawl, By late summer 2025, a leaked payroll sheet shows shifts cut from 3 to 1 and overtime completely frozen. Dealers now report unsold inventory sitting past 90 days, with floor plan financing fees stacking like unpaid rent. Every unsold trailer costs interest, insurance, and storage. About $330 a month per unit. Multiply that by 100 unsold rigs, and the math turns brutal. Customers now see the cracks firsthand. Panel seams splitting, doors misaligned, wiring hanging loose. These are not isolated flaws, but proof of a company pushed past its limits. Used Gulfstream models are down over 30% since last winter. Lenders pulling back, and the once simple promise of affordable camping fading into memory. If Gulfstream's story is about inflation breaking the bottom line, the next chapter belongs to a company that grew too big to dodge the blow. A once mighty empire now cracking under its own weight. Thor Motor Coach, the empire crumbling from within. Walk through an Indiana factory parking lot today, and you can feel the weight in the air. Silence where engines once echoed, gates locked where trucks used to line up. This is Thor Motor Coach, the empire that once defined the modern American motorhome, now shrinking from the inside out. For more than a decade, Thor Industries built its dominance by acquisition. It bought Jayco, Integra, Keystone, and a dozen others, creating a kingdom so vast it controlled nearly 40% of North America's R-vee production. But that growth came with a debt load that ballooned to over $4 billion. When sales slowed, the empire started collapsing under its own size. In Thor's fiscal third quarter of 2025, production was cut by 48%. Official filings revealed a $312 million inventory overhang and plant layoffs in Elkhart and Wakarusa. Workers were told the reductions were temporary realignments, but the drone footage says otherwise. Rows of half-finished Class A and Class C shells stretching across the yard, waiting for buyers who no longer exist. Dealers whisper about pressure to take on extra units just to clear factory space. One longtime retailer near St. Louis described it like this: "They ship them faster than I can move them, and the bank calls me before the first test drive." That is floor plan finance pressure, the hidden crack running through Thor's foundation. Customer faith is fading fast. Complaints about slide-outs and roof leaks have doubled since 2023, while warranty delays stretch for months. Each postponed repair reveals cash restraint. Overtime cut, stockrooms emptied, patience exhausted. Thor's issue is not a single model, but a broken system built on endless demand and cheap credit, now too big to bend. And if Thor represents the giant struggling to stay upright, the next brand shows what happens when its most valuable division starts sinking faster than the rest. A volume king running out of buyers and time. Keystone R-vee. The volume king running out of buyers. There was a time when the Keystone badge meant momentum. You could drive past any campground in America and see the Cougar, the Springdale, or the Hideout lined up like a moving billboard for middle-class adventure. But now those same names have become signs of oversupply. Keystone's crown was built on volume, and that crown is starting to buckle under its own weight. During the pandemic boom of 2021, Keystone produced over 130,000 units, the highest in its history. 2 years later, the company's order sheet reads like a hangover report. Factory output for 2025 is projected to land around 75,000, a decline of more than 40%. Drone shots from the Gulfstream complex show acres of unsold travel trailers parked bumper to bumper, rows so tight a forklift can barely squeeze through. Auction data confirms what those images already whisper. A 2023 Keystone Cougar that once listed near $62,000 is now changing hands at public sale for $33,500. Dealers call it reverse appreciation. Buyers call it a warning. Each markdown erases margin not just for the brand, but for every retailer trying to survive the flood. The underlying reason is demand fatigue. The same consumers who rushed to buy during lockdowns are now buried under maintenance bills, insurance hikes, and rising loan payments. Used inventory is everywhere, and that second-hand wave is crushing new sales. Keystone's own dealer bulletin from May 2025 admits it bluntly. elevated field inventory remains our core challenge. Inside Keystone, morale is fading. Production is down to one shift, workers reshuffled each week, and temporary cuts that never end. The model built on non-stop speed is now punished for excess. Resale values have fallen nearly 29% year over year. The volume king learns the truth. When growth stops, size becomes liability. If Keystone's downfall is about overproduction, meeting empty wallets, the next story digs even deeper. A luxury name gasping for relevance as its once loyal audience simply walks away. If these numbers shocked you, subscribe before the next chapter drops. We're tracking which brands rise or disappear next. And the data coming in could change everything you believe. Fleetwood R-vee, the luxury brand on life support. You can hear the echo when you step inside a Fleetwood plant today. Tools hanging silent, lights humming over half-finished shells. The hum of an empire that once built dreams on diesel, now running out of breath. Fleetwood used to define American road luxury. Their Bounder and Discovery models rolled through campgrounds like small moving mansions, proof that craftsmanship and comfort could travel together. But today, that prestige has turned into a financial patient struggling to breathe. In the latest filing from the Rev Group, Fleetwood's parent company, the R-vee division posted a revenue decline of 63% year over year. That is not a stumble, that is collapse. The Decatur, Indiana facility that once employed over 2,000 workers now operates on skeleton crews. Layoffs began quietly in January 2025, labeled temporary, but by summer, they were permanent. Production volume is down to fewer than 5,000 units a year, the lowest output in more than 3 decades. The problem runs deeper than slow sales. Fleetwood's prices ballooned during the pandemic years. The Discovery LXE that cost $270,000 in 2021 now lists near $355,000, while loan approvals above $200,000 have plummeted across every major lender. Meanwhile, the used market is punishing new owners. A 2024 Bounder with under 10,000 miles recently sold at auction for $178,000, barely half its original invoice. Behind those numbers is a story of pressure and decline. Costs for diesel chassis, aluminum panels, and composite interiors climbed by double digits. Fleetwood tried to hide the squeeze with tech upgrades and premium trims, but demand for luxury rigs evaporated. Dealers are shrinking floor space, refusing new allocations, and whispering the same line, "We cannot carry them anymore." What once symbolized aspiration now represents risk, a badge fading under the weight of debt and disbelief. And if Fleetwood is gasping for air, what happens to the company holding the oxygen tank? Because the next name on this list owns the heartbeat of half the industry, and that heartbeat is skipping fast. Rev Group, the collapse that could take the industry down. Every market has a backbone, and in the American R-vee world, that backbone has always been the Rev Group. They build the frames, the engines, and the flagship coaches that carry half of the industry's prestige. Fleetwood, Holiday Rambler, Monaco, American Coach. All of them flow through Rev's veins. But right now, that system is failing, and if it goes down, it could drag the entire body of the R-vee market with it. According to the company's latest Securities and Exchange Commission filing, the recreational vehicle division is buried under more than $1,100 million in long-term debt. Revenue has dropped 48% in just 2 fiscal years, and operating losses continue to widen. Analysts tracking the company's debt-to-equity ratio call it beyond the red zone. Translated, lenders are nervous and suppliers are watching closely for the first missed payment. Production cuts are already happening. In Decatur, Indiana, the line that once built luxury coaches for Fleetwood and American Coach is now running at less than 40% capacity. Employees describe entire weeks where assembly stops because vendors refuse to ship parts until invoices are cleared. One welder said simply, "We are building ghosts. Nothing leaves." Dealers are already hedging their exposure, shifting toward independent builders or freezing new orders entirely. If R-vee restructures, warranties could disappear overnight, leaving thousands with rigs but no service network or parts supply. The ripple would strike suppliers, lenders, and insurers alike. Analysts predict a breakup or sell-off by late 2026. yet buyers hesitate to inherit its debt and pension costs. This is not a crash. It is a deliberate collapse unfolding in slow motion. And yet, for all that damage, one name still towers above them, a company so large it was once called too big to stumble. The next chapter shows what happens when even the biggest titan of the R-vee world starts to lose its footing. Forest River, the titan that may be too big to save. When a company as large as Forest River starts cutting production, the entire map of the American R-vee industry begins to tremble. This is the titan that built the backbone of the market. Class C motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheels, cargo haulers, even pontoon boats. Under the ownership of Berkshire Hathaway, Forest River looked untouchable. But the numbers coming out of Elkhart tell a different story. One that feels less like dominance and more like a slow-motion unraveling. An internal report leaked in late September 2025 shows Class C output down 37% year-over-year, with layoffs at both the Elkhart and Goshen facilities. Line supervisors confirm overtime has been frozen since June, and 2 separate subcontractors have pulled out due to unpaid invoices. In the same quarter, dealer defaults climbed by 29%. Forcing the company to absorb unsold inventory across multiple divisions. For decades, Forest River's strategy was simple: build more, sell more, repeat. It worked when credit was cheap and families were upgrading every few years. But now, the pipeline is clogged. Dealers are sitting on nearly 11,000 unclaimed units nationwide, and the floor plan, financing interest on that stockpile runs into the tens of millions every month. The volume model that once fueled expansion has turned into an anchor pulling the brand underwater. Insiders reveal that Forest River's leadership is quietly planning consolidation, merging smaller sub-brands like Vibe, Cherokee, and Sabre into core product lines just to survive the next fiscal year. What was once an advantage of scale has turned into a burden. Hundreds of models, dozens of factories, and over 12,000 employees now weigh down a shrinking market. The message is simple: even titans collapse when their size outgrows their balance. Forest River looks too big to save. The R-vee collapse isn't coming, it's already here. If you own one of these rigs or plan to buy soon, what happens next could hit your wallet hard. Some brands may not make it to 2026, and the fallout's just beginning. What do you think? Is the R-vee industry done for, or can it recover? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this opened your eyes, hit like, share it with other R-vee owners, and subscribe. The next chapter's coming fast.